Hi, good afternoon from Europe, everyone. My name is Riaz, and welcome to another episode of Let Token Venture Capital TV. I'll be your host today, along with our producer Hasmik, who is going to be helping me off screen taking your questions today. And hopefully, we'll see a few interesting ones. Today, we're going to be speaking to a decentralized project and expect viewers from multiple communities. Like I said, it's going to be very interesting. But before we move on, as a reminder, you can see all of our previous shows and future content by visiting www.letoken.com/VCTV/shows. Also, it's never a bad idea to follow us across the social verse, such as Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and even new platforms such as Chigari, where we announce the latest listings, giveaways, airdrops, and even trading competitions. Finally, remember, anything mentioned here is not any type of financial advice. Do your research before making any decisions. Do your homework. Do your due diligence. Voila. With that, uh, let me introduce our guest, Uniqlo from
Hello,
Sovereign.
everyone. I'm Unicum.
There you
Hello,
are. Now
everyone.
I can see you. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, welcome, Yuko. How are you? And by the way, I think maybe I'm just gonna say you to make it easier, I suppose,
That's
right?
fine. That's absolutely fine. I get it. It's a pseudonym, so Unicum is sometimes harder to pronounce, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
no, perfect. So feel free. I guess we're if our audience know that we have a standard set of questions that we usually send the projects ahead of time, but for anyone that's new, again, just a quick reminder: if you have any questions, just please submit them, and Hasmik will let us know. So let's start with I guess the first standard question. Tell us a bit about yourself and the team behind this project, which is again very interesting.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Nice Latoken to have me. My pseudonym is Unicum. I'm in Sovereign. I'm the operational project manager in our decentralized project. Um, uh, I have a history in working with mortgage banks as well as heavy industry prior to succumbing to my interest and started working in crypto because I was dabbling into it. And in the start of 2021, I did come across Sovereign and I got really interested in the premise and started working with the project. Our team is global, professional. Pretty much like we have people all around the world from South Africa, from US, UK, from Asia, from multiple different countries, just to like have a feeling of yeah, we don't really care about any geographical
Yeah.
parts of the world, that we try to build something worldwide.
No, that's great. So then, I mean, before I guess we talk about the project itself, you said that something attracted you. So, what were the problems that I guess the project saw that it solved that also attracted you?
Sure.
Yeah.
The things that were attractive to me was a lot of how the project was tackling the problem of Bitcoin being um, too clad in stone, not as in the rule set, but rather what you can do with it. So right now, a lot of the users of Bitcoin have just a way to use Bitcoin in a hodl sense, pretty much like you have
Right.
your money, it is stable and it's great. Like the rule set of Bitcoin is great, but the problem is if it's just the money, you cannot use it. So pretty much if you had gold back in the day, you had gold and that's nice, you have money, but you could not transact with it freely or easily and have trade done with it in a day-to-day base. That's why we, for example, have a Lightning network so we can use it more. Or in our case, we started to develop more the DeFi space for Bitcoin on Bitcoin.
Okay. No, that's very good. And then the so one of the questions we always ask is, how would you provide a quick overview of the market? I guess in this case, the market would be the broad Bitcoin market, and you're building a decentralized ecosystem around this is probably.
Yeah, I mean the whole market right now it's
Yeah.
pretty stagnant in my opinion. Like I'm not a trader anymore. Like I
Yeah.
was trading furiously in the beginning because money printer go brr, whatever. Everyone chases the gains, but
Yes.
right now I do not follow the market a lot. I see only the sentiments. So right now I would say there is pretty much a stagnation happening for the last half a year because of regulation concerns and the push down following it, as well as the futuristic and potentially profitable sentiment that is supporting the price of most of the assets, which are also derivatives of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
to a lot of sense. So I would, in my eyes, it's rather calm right now. So pretty much the best time to build things. So stagnant, calm, whatever you want to put it.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting way to put it. And then, so how would you do, what would sort of be your elevator pitch for Sovereign, or how would you describe it to someone that you like, there, it's still such a very young industry. I know that it's probably very busy from your perspective, but for someone who's never, who's just jumping into Bitcoin and kind of holding it, like you say, and they're exploring decentralized finances, trying to put it to work, I suppose is maybe one way to
Hmm.
ask the question. Yeah. So what would be
Perfect.
the, yeah, what would be your pitch there?
The pitch itself is pretty much, well, Sovereign allows the users to trade without any centralized intermediaries in crypto assets while building out Bitcoin. So, um,
Okay.
without a need to buy into any Ponzi scheme token to use the platform or the protocol, you can have trades done directly via your wallets and through smart contracts. So there is no intermediary, no one who is touching your money pretty much or funds uh, during the transactions, and without the need of any personal data to be distributed to any third party. Like
Okay.
this is the elevator pitch, I would say.
No, I guess I mean, decentralization is something I think many in our audience, or maybe just generally, again, and coming to the industry first for the first time, is something they're trying to put their head around, because we've only known centralization, I guess,
Yeah,
all our
sure.
lives, right? I mean, working with
Banks, centralized
intermediaries and what have you,
exchanges.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like, working with banks, and we, yeah. So it's still, it can be sometimes, and I guess one of the concerns that comes up often is security. And so I don't know
hmm,
what your thoughts around this could be, especially with the recent news on, breaches that are happening in the
yeah,
space and what have you. Yeah.
absolutely.
And maybe before we go there, I don't know, Hasmik, I'll just want to touch base with Hasmik. Do we have any interesting questions coming in that that we can ask? Okay, no. So I think we're good. Yeah. So yeah, please, yeah, let's talk about some of the recent security issues.
Sure. The security issues are, well, it's always different on every different platform protocol. For us, how we try to ward against it is pretty much all the code of Sovereign is open source. So pretty much like Bitcoin, it is open source. Everyone can see it, and we have bounties for anyone who is finding any kind of insecurities in the code that can be used to breach it. For example, we did have our own developers find a couple of things that could be used as a breach, and we made fixes to that pretty fast,
Okay.
as well as having audits done to every additional code that we develop, and not just by us internally, but also externally by two different other firms, like companies.
Okay.
So what we do for security is pretty much like we audit everything twice, thrice, however times,
Yep.
and on the running basis, the whole open source code is being can be monitored by anyone and everyone, and they can get um, compensations if they find any kind of problem with it.
Okay. So I guess that leads into the next part of our questions. You know, how would you explain Sovereign, the token? How does it work within the ecosystem?
Okay,
Uh, you know,
that's
yeah,
that's a bit harder in my opinion,
yeah,
because a lot of the times a token is really the thing that puts you into the ecosystem. For example, let's say you have Ethereum. Ethereum, you need it to be part of the ecosystem. You need it to participate in it.
yes,
With Sovereign, it's a bit different because you don't need the token. You do not need the token to participate or use the platform, but it is there to share revenue to people from the protocol. So protocols do collect fees for transactions and any kind of interactions with the protocol itself,
Yep.
as well as any kind of specific payouts out of the system. People can stake and have part of that revenue. So the revenue that the platform generates does not go to sovereign; it goes to
Yep.
all the sovereign stakers. So
I
when
see.
someone has a big part of the staking, they get the big part or equivalent part of the fee revenue from the protocol. So the more usage the platform gets, the more fees can people expect to get
And
if
then,
they stake.
and I was gonna
But
say,
sorry,
yeah, no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
but that's not the only thing. The second thing is the utility of the token is the governance. So because we are a DAO, so a decentralized uh,
Yep.
governance system, so to speak, we need a governance done by the users, and it happens via Bitocracy. Bitocracy is our system of governance through the staking. So the more people stake and for longer they stake, because there is a staking period, they get voting power and they can vote on sovereign improvement proposals, SIPs,
Okay.
that need to be approved to even alter the code in any way. So there is no way to alter the code prior to there being a SIP approved by the community. Hence, it's also a security aspect. There is no way to add code without the consensus of all of the stakers or like the big percentage of the stakers.
I don't know if we asked at the beginning of our conversation, but how long is the staking and how long has Sovereign been available now?
Sovereign has been out for almost a year now because
Okay.
like it started really in April 2021, but the conception of it was in summer 2020, in the time of Corona.
Right. Yes. Okay. And then since then, since the launch, you, as you mentioned, that you have audited results for that the first year, I suppose, the returns on the activity, no?
um,
Or
can you
yeah,
can you?
I was just curious to see if a sovereign token holder is able to sort of if you're able to measure the staking rewards that have already been distributed, for example, the yields that have already
That
been
would be
distributed.
hard. It is possible. I think
Yep.
it is possible, but it no, it is possible actually. We do have the database of the backend, so yeah, it would be possible to see that. And up until now, the APR is around 29%, I think. So like,
Okay.
and it's stable. It's not something that is like um, fluctuating or going down or whatever. It is always like a stable thing. So yeah,
Yep.
29 as far as I know,
And so
or
I
higher.
guess I guess the next standard question would be what are the benefits for investors and the I
Sure.
think
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think that's also part of the what the benefits for investors is.
Yeah.
Um, well, the question is, what kind of investor are we talking about? Are we talking
Right.
just about a token buyer, like a normal day-to-day day trader? Well, then our token is not any different as any other token. It's just you can buy it and you can be sure we are trying to make everything in our ability to make your investment worthwhile because we are working on it. We want it to succeed. Like for those investors, sure, I can only say it's just a token like anyone else.
Okay.
But for investors that want to profit from their token purchase as much as possible, then it would be staking that is maybe
Yeah.
interesting because in the long term, like Sovereign is not looking into a short-term pump and then explosion, being the Doge, being the Shiba Inu, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, if you guys wanted that, that's not us. We are building on Bitcoin, so we are like the long-term focused guys,
Yep.
the annoying people. We are thinking about, okay, how can you use it? You can stake it. You can get parts of the fee protocol if we succeed in building out the the platform, then people will use it more. Then your stake will get more fees. Then your governance will have more weight, and you can participate in the ecosystem and the development of it. So
Okay.
that's the benefit for investors. So either you buy it and you hold it like a normal token, or you can use it.
Right. Um, and then I guess leading to our next question, please explain what makes your project different so that investors can move forward and invest in your project. I think
Uh,
you've highlighted the sort of the key points already.
okay,
Um,
how it's different is,
yeah.
well, we are decentralized project,
Yeah.
which is built on Bitcoin. So not Solana, not Ethereum, not
Yeah.
all the other things, because other times those other projects, they are built on the sidechain systems that do have, in my opinion, problems, security problems, as well as governance problems. For example, like proof of stake,
Yep.
and some other protocols having um, questionable ethics with their tokenomics. Let's say it like that.
Right. Right.
Um, we don't have that. Um, we rather are trying to put innovations from other chains, so like Solana, like Ethereum, like the other stuff on the Bitcoin. So we did find the technology of Rootstock, which is securing the funds on the side chain via merge mining on Bitcoin, and we are building the DeFi space on it with the tools that are provided or are happening on the other chains. Like this is the uh, differentiation of from us from all the other protocols. I'm sorry.
No, no, that's
Um,
fine. Because one of the questions from the audience that has been just posted was, are there any new updates coming to Sovereign? And so maybe you were just touching on this, so that maybe, yeah, we could use this as an opportunity to answer this. No?
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, there are things that are coming to Sovereign, um, which are things like, I mean, as far as I know, there should be a question about roadmap, and this is partly in that. But yeah, we are looking to implement functionalities to the platform itself. So we do have a lot of different functionalities on different DeFi platforms. And the thing is, not everything is in one place, and we are trying to build it all in one place on Bitcoin. So, for example, soon, very soon, actually, there will be limit orders put out on Sovereign. So pretty much the feeling of a centralized exchange having put up an order in the order book will be the same on Sovereign. So this is the next step. Then after that, there will be the Zero protocol that will be expanding the Sovereign protocol with a interest loan, 0% interest loan for users on their Bitcoin. So pretty much people can have a 110%, or I would recommend even a bigger collateralized position in Bitcoin, and they can use that money without the fear of there being any interest run on it. So they can hold it indefinitely and then buy it back. So use your Bitcoin without selling it. That's like next thing. And if you want, we can talk about that later. We can.
No, no, that no, because now we're touching on a bit of circular economics, I think, yes, and looking at things a bit differently. Yeah. No, no,
um,
no, definitely. If there are any more questions, please,
the,
please let us know. Yeah, but go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was not I was not done with
Oh,
my
no, no,
what
please
is
continue.
coming
Yeah,
up for
yeah.
Sovereign, because the thing is right now we're working on three big things. That's the limit
Okay.
orders, that's the Zero protocol, and the perpetual swaps. So maybe you do know perpetual swaps that are happening, for example, on Binance, where you can trade against anything pretty much. And that's what we are building as well. So an ability to trade against anything that it has any kind of graph, as long as it has an oracle, it can be hooked up to a perpetual swaps trading contract and be traded against Bitcoin on Sovereign. So this will be coming Later this year as
And
well.
how big is the team that's working on this? Wait.
We
Yeah.
are around 90 people, I think. So we are not really that small. Um, and the people that are in the developer seat are really high end guys. I would say they are like senior level developers for any other project. So I have big big respect towards developers in that sense.
No, that's great. Um, I guess our final we can we do have a question coming in. Can you tell us a little bit about Sovereign Labs?
Sovereign Labs, sure. I see we have people out of the Sovereign community. Okay, Sovereign Labs is something that was proposed back late last year to have a way to propose new solutions, new functionalities to the community in a way that is more protected. So pretty much like limit the use, but see the use case of new functionalities. For example, perp swaps, perpetual swaps, was firstly developed for Sovereign Labs. For example, we did have a test run on the testnet server for perpetual swaps earlier this year, and that was pretty much Sovereign Labs in there in it, so to speak, to see how things function and have Sovereign Labs as a platform to kick off things that are in the test phase laboratory.
Okay, so it's your incubation house, I suppose, is the
Yeah,
best
pretty
way to
much.
explain it. Yeah, and then
So
that's where you test it and then you launch it.
yes,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that can be done for not just our core products, but also for different other products if they let's say a different project want to be part of the Sovereign ecosystem and they want to have more visibility of how the project functions prior to the SIP, even maybe it depends. The SIP, the Sovereign Improvement Proposal, sorry. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
um, it can maybe be done through Sovereign Labs to see if it's useful, or it can be even run on the Sovereign platform.
No, that's great. I think we had a couple likes on Facebook. Yeah. So again, just to connect back to the sovereign token, a sovereign holder could use it as an opportunity to submit a proposal as well. Yes,
Yes,
or
you
can anyone?
need
Okay. Okay.
yeah, you need at least 1% of the total voting power to submit a SIP. For a vote means you can delegate your voting power to someone else, and then people from the community can have a cumulative 1% of the total voting power and propose a SIP vote, which is usually being done first on the forum, on our Sovereign forum, where people discuss it and see if there are holes in the proposal and so on. And either the team will start a SIP vote because they see a reason in it, or the community themselves can have delegations together with that have at least, as I said, 1% of the voting power, total voting power, and propose it themselves. But that does not mean it passes. It has to pass by the
Yeah.
vote itself.
And like for example, how many proposals would you have on right now
Uh,
that are going through the process of voting?
Right now, we have two proposals that are on the forum.
Okay.
As of the voting itself, right now there's none.
Okay, I see. Okay. And then how many proposals have been passed since the project would have started?
42, 43.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there are any more questions from the audience, but yeah, please let us know. But yeah, from our perspective, from the list of questions that we had sent, any sort of final recommendations for our viewers today? And we should touch on the contest we're running with La Token as well, but we can
Sure.
probably end with that. Yeah.
Yeah, recommendations. Guys, please drink water, have a walk from time to time, and do not argue with your dogs. They win usually. Um, but no, really, I do recommend people just to have be in consensus of what you try to do with your crypto. because a lot of the people do see it as a casino, while others see it as a way to build out a financial ecosystem for the future. So recommendation, uh, please look into your finances and be responsible.
Yeah, it's an insane time. Oh, actually, we do have another question from the audience. What is the difference between sovereign and stacks?
Uh, Look, I don't want to be adversarial. I'm not here to bash anyone. And actually, Stacks has a lot of good things. The difference is Stacks is more of a program platform, so people can develop programs on the Stacks ecosystem, which is also connected to Bitcoin. While Sovereign is a protocol mostly for trading. Like Stacks is not directly there for trading. They have a platform named Alex, which is built out similarly to what Sovereign is doing. Yet they do require people to buy into Stacks token to participate in the platform itself. We don't do that. We try to keep Bitcoin Bitcoin, but give it.
Right.
But the Bitcoin we use is pegged onto the rootstock system to be able to perform on smart contracts. So there is also a trade-off on our side, I would say, but in our end, Bitcoin stays Bitcoin. On Stacks, it's more like they try to have a platform for programs and have also a way to trade on one of the programs, which is Alex.
I see. Okay. So they are very different in that sense. Yeah, so maybe we can talk to our audience. There's a giveaway campaign, if I'm not mistaken, going on with between Sovereign and Let Token right now. So
Yeah.
I think the journey starts, if I'm not mistaken, on the Twitter platform, on your Twitter platform. Hasvik, I don't know
Yes.
if we can share that screen or share that link with our audience, but yeah, I would highly recommend following the Sovereign project and the team. And again, as you mentioned earlier, doing your homework, going outside, balancing your time between the different multiverses that I guess we're all experiencing these days, right? Uh, yeah, so there's a lot of noise out there, that's for sure.
Yeah. And the thing that we're doing right now with La Token, what you mentioned, if
Yes,
you guys go to add Sovereign BTC, you can see our collaboration with La Token and a giveaway of 1,000 SOV to people
there it
who
is.
participate. And I hope, yeah, it is on the screen right now. If you guys go in, I think there is only 1 day left. So not to pressure you guys. I'm not. I'm just
Yeah,
joking.
no,
You don't
that's
have
a
to.
good point.
But
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's free, so to speak. You just have to click and follow things to be able to get free tokens. Um,
Oh, cool.
Sorry.
Oh, and that was just interesting. Another question just popped up. Can you please explain what stable coins aren't? Why? No, what stable coins aren't as stable as you think? In your website means that is true. I did see that on your website
Okay,
once.
that's okay. I thought we were talking about SOV, but sure. Stablecoins aren't as stable as you think refers to the way how the stablecoins are pegged as of right now. Because, for example, USDT is pegged to the dollar, and the dollar, if that crashes, then USDT, which is pegged
Of
to it
course.
1 to 1, is
Yes.
not as stable as a stable coin should be in our mind, as because a stable coin should be rooted in something that is more substantial. Let's say the petrodollar is rooted in the value of the petrodollar is rooted in the oil industry. So
Yeah.
or something that is backed by gold would be
Yep.
pegged to gold, and in our case, something should be pegged to something like Bitcoin because it's stable. To be really stable. So stablecoins aren't as stable as you think is a reference to that. That it is pegged to something centralized and also unstable. Potentially
Yes.
unstable. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's. And I'm too new to really comment on this. As you know, my history in the industry is 12, 13 weeks, if that. But
Welcome.
but no, for sure. But no, for sure. But stable coins, it definitely a lot of traditional investors, offline investors are using that as a sort of a middle ground to kind of explore, or where they go next. So I think it's always good to understand the risks when it comes to stable coins, right? Because
Exactly.
you're right, like anything else, like any other, any other investor. But it goes to this other issue about how much, you can really get lost in that rabbit hole when you're really trying to do so much research on so many new things and you don't really understand the language so well. Like for example, so I don't know if you want to touch on this question that came in from the audience. Looking at the charts, it's scary as the prices drop from $80 to the current price. Can we touch on this?
We can, of course.
Yeah.
There are multiple reasons for that, actually. Of course, there was the initial hype of new token, not new release, and that is usually the time when the pump happens. It was also partnered together with our tokenomics, because we do have tokenomics of a release schedule, because
Yeah.
it is in a similar way handled as Bitcoin. We do have a max cap of coins that will be in circulation at a specific time in 5 years. But prior to that, it is a lower circulation. Means at the time when you buy into the big new release, there is just, for example, 2 million coins. And due to release schedule, which is known, the amount of tokens does increase disproportionately. So out of 2 million, it became 4, then 6, then 10 million. So of course, the value of a single token out of the marketing pool goes down. While people also do sell because of fear of losing out, so it goes down even more. So of
Yeah.
course, there is then
So
a
the
big
emotional
loss of
rationale for
value.
what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, we still continue to develop. Like the price, sure, it would be much easier to sell it when the price only goes up, but all of the tokens that go down, our token did also go down, and then there is more selling pressure and so on. That's how it is.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's a good question, and I think that's a great answer as well. Yeah, no, I think that's good for. I mean, I don't know if you have any more questions for me or for Let Token, but if there is anyone in the audience that has any more questions for Sovereign, please let us know. I don't know what else could we talk about, you? I know, what do you think?
I
Did
did mention zero. If you want, we can
Yes.
talk about this because I know it is something like a bit harder to grasp, maybe. Uh, I don't know if you're interested, we can.
Yeah, yeah. No, please, because it was. I mean, the perpetual trading is also interesting, but we
Yeah,
could
it
talk
is.
about, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
We have
perfect.
nice. Thank you, Hasmik.
Nice, Asvik.
Um, so Zero is a protocol, or uh, will be a extension of the Sovereign protocol. The audits are already done, as well as the code is done, and there is a really crude front end for it already, but it's not yet online. The Zero
Okay.
protocol, it allows people to have a way to use their Bitcoin while not selling it. So, for example, you can think of it as how does Elon Musk, for example, pay his rent? Does he go to the bank and pay his rent? Maybe he does, but the money he has is usually in shares.
Yes.
Like he has shares in different companies, and he uses those shares to buy off things while not selling those shares because he's using them as how you speak. How can you say it?
As collateral, I
Yes,
guess, in
as
this case. Yeah.
collateral, pretty much,
As
so to speak.
yeah.
And that's what you can do then with
So
Bitcoin.
In this case, you're loaning out using Bitcoin as collateral, um,
Yes.
and you're loaning out at 0%.
Yes. So there is no increase in your interest, and your Bitcoin stays the same as long as you have your wallet. You can always sign in and take back your Bitcoin. But the collateralization is, of course, 110%. So you
Yes.
should have,
So it's 110 to borrow 100, I guess, is the math.
yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Almost, but yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It's 100 to borrow 90. Then we are
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
absolutely clear. Sorry. And
Yeah.
of course,
That's
there
good.
is a 0.5% origination fee. So one time at the start to originate your position, you have to pay 0.5%. And this money would also go to the stakers
Yep.
because it is something that is a revenue for the protocol.
And once again, if I were to look at the market landscape, does something like this exist in the market landscape?
Yes and no.
Okay.
There are similar things already on other protocols. Thing is, either the interest rate is much higher, uh, and they are and or they are centralized. So people
Right.
do give
Yes.
up their privacy,
Yep.
their keys and so on to their Bitcoin, um, while we do not ask for anything like that. Like we try to stay as close to Bitcoin's narrative of
Of
financial
course.
freedom
Yep.
as possible.
No, that's great. No, that's good. Yeah, I think yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, just a reminder to our audience. Again to do your own research, as we always as we've been pointing out throughout the show, to do your homework and really understand how the project works. And this project in particular has been around for some time, and as you had mentioned, we have audited results as well. So that's worth taking a look at. And I imagine everything is publicly available
Yeah,
as
we have
as
a
most project
wiki.
is.
I was part of the team that started the wiki even.
Yes,
Um, you can read up most of the things about the token, how things were handled, how the code is handled without going into the GitHub and needing to read up on it. You can read a lot of the things on our wiki because it is a dedicated wiki by our team.
yeah, and my sense of it is so far, just having talked to the team earlier, very engaged with the community. So I think if the community had more questions, I imagine they can get the answers pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I would,
we do have a very active Discord, Telegram communities.
yeah,
We have a forum, as I mentioned, where a lot of discussion around like governance and so on goes on. Um, People have really easy ways to contact developers or business contacts in Sovereign, like in the Sovereign team. Um, so yeah, the community usually has a straightforward path to ask us anything.
super cool. Thank you so much for your time today, Unico. This was amazing. This was very informative, and we had a lot of good questions today. And I think the audience seemed to be engaged. So. Everyone, please visit their Twitter page. As I mentioned, there is a promotion going on right now. It closes in 24 hours. Highly recommended. And following the team and being up to date with their progress as they move forward with some very interesting products over the next. When do you expect launch on the zero interest?
Zero should
Yeah.
be around end of May, I think, or
Okay.
mid-May.
So second quarter,
Yeah,
more or less.
like
Okay. Cool.
this quarter, most likely.
Very cool. Very cool. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you as well for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hasmik.